All right, Giants fans, we are live once again. Welcome to the
Welcome
Family
back.
Bonding, the mother and son post-game show, the first and only mother and son mother. Can I say it? Can I say it? First and only mother and son post-game show on the New York Football Giants and probably on any NFL team, really. I think
Yeah,
so.
I
Yeah,
look,
is
I've
that
never
good?
seen the
So let's.
other.
How about that?
Yeah. So, like my mom said, welcome back, everybody. Big Blue, we have some updates for you. We're going to call this our weekly recap since we do only really have enough time to be showing up here once a week, unlike some other people we know that are literally putting out 4 to 5 videos a day.
We
Uh,
have jobs. Hello, I have a
yes,
business.
yes.
Hello, hello.
Some of us aren't lucky for this to be our job yet. So we're going to call these from now on the weekly recap. That way, at least you'll know at least once a week we'll put something out. So from this point forward, weekly New York Giants, Big Blue, shenanigans or not, recap.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
We do need
but
people to subscribe and like, right? We need them to do
yes,
that.
yes. Please like and subscribe. Please drop a comment. Share these videos with everybody. Help us get our family to grow because we still do have that goal of getting to 1,000 subscribers. Honestly, we don't want to stop at 1,000, but that's just a big milestone for a lot of content creators who are just starting out. Whether it's 5 years ago, whenever they started, everyone wants to hit that 1,000 subs. So it would mean the world to my mom and I, especially my mother, if you would hit this, give us that 1,000 sub mark. Please, it would mean the world to us. So to start, we're going to do a brief recap. Let's talk about the first four original signings that we had. We had Isaiah Likely coming in, tight end, 3 years, $40 million contract for Isaiah Likely coming out of Baltimore Ravens. You got Jordan Stout, the punter, 3 years, $12.3 million. Noticing a trend here, there's going to be at least 2, 3 years where we offer these guys, except for the one from the Ravens, our Darius Washington. We gave him a 1 year, $3 million signing, which is honestly insanely cheap. I don't know how the Giants pulled that off. This must be like a make or break year for him or something to be offered 1 year, $3 million. That's insane. And then of course you got Patrick Ricard, the big old fullback coming out of Baltimore Ravens for 2 years, 7.63 million. Since he is a fullback, they don't really get paid that much. So again, another good bargain signing that we got there. But I think the most impactful signings that we've got out of these four is Isaiah Likely and Patrick Ricard. Patrick Ricard is going to be great because he'll be going alongside Cam Scadaboo and also Tyron Tracy Jr., who I think can still have a chance to prove that we could use him as a running back on this team because there are some people out there I've been seeing in comment sections all across social media for sports, specifically the NFL, that they don't think Tyron Tracy Jr. is that guy and they think that he's average at best. I think he just didn't have the right situation on the New York Giants to really showcase his abilities. And I think moving forward with this offensive line and what we're doing right now with the fullbacks and the tight ends getting some more physical, large bodies in there, you will see players like Tyron Tracy Jr. benefit from this significantly. Cam Scadaboo, of course, we would hope to see explode next year, and hopefully he could stay on the field and stay healthy because I do think that he will have a big year as well behind that offensive line and that fullback. So those are just the four major signings. There were a couple other ones, but let's talk about some that were shocking. The one that's controversial is the Evan Neal signing because obviously he made a lot of New York Giants fans very upset, called us a bunch of hamburger flippers and hot dog flippers, and
Oh
said
no.
that we needed to stay in our lane when talking about the New York Giants. And as you can imagine, the common folk of the world, especially in the New York Giants area, they were not very happy to hear this. And then to see him go from a starter to getting benched and then just being a certified bench warmer, it really is not a good follow up to saying something as disrespectful as that to your fans, people who are really helping to pay your paycheck. Uh, it really doesn't show much for him there. So this is a big redemption arc for him, especially under John Harbaugh. Will he be able to do well under his new position as the right guard? We'll see because he did. We did draft him as a right tackle, but clearly that did not work out. He was benched by Jermaine Illuminor, and rightfully so because Jermaine Illuminor has been holding it down on the right side there. So seeing some size like a 7 foot, or excuse me, 7 foot, 6'8". I wish he was 7 foot, 6'8", 330 plus pound offensive lineman in Evan Neal. To see him get into the interior there, it looks like we'll be trying to convert him into a priority, or we'll say prio first run blocking. Like that'll be the priority for him. Get him in there, do some zone blocking, get him to run, get open up the holes in the middle just to give someone like Cam Scadaboo or even Pat Ricard some space for a couple yards if we need it. So that's going to be one of those signings that we have to pay close attention to and pray that it works out because Evan Neal, it seems like he's on his last leg here in Big Blue. Who knows what will be in the future for him if this doesn't work out? So that's someone we have to think about.
Oh
Also,
boy.
of course, keeping Chris Manhertz. Talking about tight ends, Chris Manhertz, that's a big body himself. He's not really a receiving tight end. We wanted to keep him in there for jumbo sets and stuff like that because when we are in situations where we just need 1 or 2 yards, putting in 2 or 3 tight ends in there, it's a no-brainer. We're going to be running it. But having size like a Chris Manhertz, that's fantastic. I do think he will be very good for us in the jumbo sets. Like I said, with Pat Ricard, you can get what's Theo Johnson out there and get him on the line, and that would just be really good for someone like a Cam Scadaboo. When all you need is those 1 to 2 yards to get the first down, we'll do our own little version of the tush push. So we at least expect to see something of that.
Right, right.
Um, Mom, how do you feel about Evan Neal? Because I already know how you felt initially when we drafted him, but seeing how everything panned out, I'm curious how you feel with that signing.
You see my face, right?
Yes.
So, I like to, the NFL is a business, all right? So when you have in business, when you have an underperforming employee, you give them, a warning. You give them training. You tell
Hmm.
them to do better, right? But at some point, you have to literally cut your losses and keep it pushing, and you let that person go. Evan Neal's someone they should have let go. And I don't know if they feel like there's opportunity under Harbaugh for him to demonstrate that he can bring more to the team than he has. But I think we've seen what we would get out of him already. I do. I don't. I mean, if you think about it, even under other crappy coaches, right? The players who were stars, regardless of the crappy coaching. Evan Neal, we really haven't had much production out of him for various reasons, and it's a waste of money. And it could be that they don't, maybe they're holding on to him for another reason that we're just not privy to yet. But Evan Neal is a waste of a team spot that we could have put somebody else in his position. There had to be somebody else available. We could be looking for someone in the draft. I forgot how many draft picks we have, but maybe he's part of some wheeling and dealing for the draft, right? Because you can still any players that you have currently could be something to, we'll give you this guy if you give us this pick or whatever. So maybe they're holding on to him for that. Isn't that a scenario that could take place?
In theory, yes. So there were talks about the draft where the Giants could potentially still trade down, depending on who we would dish out. But I don't know where the Giants would want to go, how far they want to trade down to yet.
Right.
I'm hearing that maybe they'll drop to 13, potentially. I don't know. And then they can get another first round pick. I forget which team it was, but there was a possibility that the Giants could trade down, get another pick in the first round on top of the 13th pick, and then get another early pick in the second round or something like that, where you would end up having 3 picks in the top 37 overall. So you'd be looking at the top 37 prospects in the country currently,
Right.
which would be great. That would be 3 guaranteed starters right there. That's 3 guaranteed starters. If we were to trade down, get 13, get the 27th pick, and then get some pick in the top 37 in the second round, that would be really good for us, especially if we were to analyze properly and draft properly, which John Harbaugh in the past has shown he knows how to draft. He's made really good decisions that have helped the Ravens. It's just they weren't able to get over that last hump, that last mountain. They couldn't get over it for some odd reason, and it just didn't work out for him. So maybe he just needs a new, fresh scene. He's got a whole bunch of young talent over here in New York. Let's see what happens with this team and John Harbaugh leading them into this battle, if you will, because there are some players who I think under Coach Dayball just didn't give it their all. For some reason, they were motivated, whatever it may have been. Maybe they didn't like how he coached. They didn't like how he talked to them. There are a lot of reasons why some players will not give it their all if they feel some type of way about a coach. And as somebody who was on a team and we had a coach that was controversial, there were a lot of people who talked about him and they did not gel with him like they did with other coaches. And that could be the same situation with Brian Daboll when he was in New York. So let's see how John Harbaugh is with the New York Giants, excuse me, and let's see how the former teammates from the Ravens can get the New York Giants players around that mentality and that culture that John Harbaugh is trying to cultivate right now. Because it is going to be different. It could be a little bit of a culture shock for some of these players that maybe they're not used to how someone like Coach Harbaugh coaches. We won't know yet until we get some interviews from these guys. But it seems to me like we are on a path for improvement. It's just a matter of taking those correct baby steps to get us on that right path again. And there were a couple of other signings that we've gotten that we did not discuss yet, which I do want to cover real quick because there are, well, I'll just call them pending signings because it says that they have physicals that have to still be confirmed. So for we have a cornerback, Greg Newsome from the Jaguars. It's Greg Newsome the second, excuse me. They agreed to terms. They're just pending the physical. That's all that needs to be done. They've already agreed to their contract, so there's no more negotiations. It's just he has to pass the physical, and he's officially a New York Giant. That is a corner from the Jaguars. As you guys know, if you've been following football, the Jaguars did really well. They didn't really get into the playoffs, but it's okay. They're a team that's been struggling so as long as I can remember for a very long time. And one of the things that they improved on majorly was their defense. And well, we just took one of their corners. So we added some depth to our secondary there. We've also were able to sign Elijah. Give me 1 second. I had his name right here. He's from the Dolphins. Give me 1 second. I apologize, people. Let me see. Where is he? I'll find him. But for right now, there's also Anthony Johnson Jr. We waived him. We got rid of him. There are some people we did get rid of. We got offensive outside linebacker Caleb Murphy. We resigned him. That's just a depth signing. That's not really. He's probably going to be a special teams guy. You've also got Micah McFadden staying. That's somebody who I've been talking about for years, where I really thought that he would break out, and unfortunately, injuries have been keeping him from getting to that status that I assumed he was going to get to 2 years into his career. It's very unfortunate because I believe he had an ACL tear, and then I think the following year he rolled his ankle real bad or something. He had like a terrible sprained ankle. I can't remember. He had another bad leg injury.
There was some, yeah, there
Or
was,
Achilles, maybe?
yeah, there was some really
It was bad.
unfortunate injuries, and he showed so much promise at the beginning of the season, as many of the New York Giants players do.
They just, I don't know what, it's the dang turf. It's the turf.
Every
If we
week we
got rid
talk
of the
about the
turf.
turf, but friends, family, it's the freaking turf.
Yes, it's always the turf. It comes down to the turf. You've got Malik Neighbors. You got so many players that have gotten taken out. Even Odell Beckham back in the day. So many players were taken out by this turf. Saquon Barkley, Daniel friggin' Jones even. Like
Yeah.
every person that has come into this organization has not left the same because of injuries they've sustained from turf injuries. Has nothing to do with the actual sport. It's literally non-contact injuries for a lot of these players. So that's pretty much the majority of the important signings. There were a couple of people, other linebackers like Zaire Barnes. You got Aaron Stinney, the offensive lineman. We resigned him. These are all just depth re-signings. Elijah Campbell, there he is. We got a defensive back, Elijah Campbell from Miami Dolphins. They agreed to terms, but he did not pass his physical just yet. I don't know if they didn't do it yet, but they're just pending the physical. Once he passes that physical, he's good. We also have wide receiver Calvin Austin III from the Steelers. That's a receiver just for depth. I don't really see him being super impactful. He did have a solid career with the Steelers. I do think that he's somebody that could replace like a Wan'Dale Robinson, if you will. But
Right.
I don't expect him to be that number two receiver that is right next to Malik Neighbors. We need to probably get somebody in the draft. Or we could try to just see if we could sign other people. Like, for example, there's another wide receiver here that I'm seeing, Darnell Mooney from the Texans. Excuse me, not the Texans, from the Atlanta Falcons. He agreed to terms with us as well, but he has to pen his physical. So there's a couple players here that are pending their physical, and once they are approved, they'll be on the team officially. That's another receiver for depth. I think that's somebody who will be a good replacement for Wan'Dale Robinson. He's got 4,000 yards on 309 receptions and 17 touchdowns with a total of 13 rush attempts for 60 yards. And that was just this last season. So he is somebody that we could look to for a gadget guy, if you will. He could maybe, I don't think he'll demand that number two wide receiver spot to go across from Malik Neighbors, but Darnell Mooney, for sure, is somebody that is at least a decent signing. It seems like we got him for decent money. We didn't have to overpay him. So there's that. Um, he's just somebody who I think that we have a chance to improve the offense around. And my apologies if I said 4,000 yards this season. I meant career, 4,000 yards in his career. I believe he got almost 1,000 yards receiving this year. He did a pretty good job this season. That basically is what I'm saying. So you've got some good signings here, some young guys, and it's important that we got some Ravens players so that way they could again tell all players what they should expect from John Harbaugh and hopefully cultivate that culture, that winning culture, that form like you want to win. Even if you're struggling, you still play your best, play your hardest, never give up mentality. Because let's be honest, the Giants over the last few years, whenever they came out into the second half prior to at least last season, they always looked like they just gave up when they were already losing. Last season, they didn't really show a lot of that. They still tried. It's just they didn't have the proper coaching to execute and actually win those games. Because there's a lot of games where we were ahead in the third quarter going into the fourth. And for some reason, we just lost it. So under this new leadership in John Harbaugh, it looks like the New York Giants could potentially finally get away from that culture, that losing culture, that mentality of, we're winning. Let's just kind of change up what we're doing. No, 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 no. We need to be consistent. The problem is that the Giants are consistently inconsistent. That's the problem. You always have different offensive linemen. We always have three different wide receivers out there because of injuries. We never have the same running back core because somebody's getting hurt. The quarterbacks, sometimes we got to switch out the quarterbacks. I can't remember a time where we had one quarterback play through the entire season, other than when Eli played. That's it. It was just Eli Manning. We were so spoiled. We had only one quarterback that would play and start every season for a little over a decade. And we go from that to seeing three, sometimes four different quarterbacks playing in the last few years, just at the quarterback spot. Forget about the skill positions, forget about defense. We haven't had a quarterback play more than 4 or 5 games in a row, or like 6 games, whatever it is, without them getting benched. They get hurt, and then someone else has to go in. It's been a very long time for Big Blue fans to see a consistent, just quarterback. Offensive line, that's a mess. We don't even need to get into that. But the quarterback situation alone, it's just been a lot. It's been horrible. So we're trying to finally build around this team, get the right players that we need at each spot, and just hopefully we execute properly with the right
Yeah,
coaching and the right mindset. That could happen.
yeah.
How do you feel about these young guys that we signed between Calvin Austin, Elijah Campbell? You got Darnell Mooney, and then who was the other gentleman? Greg Newsome II. We got a couple of young guys from all different places, all over the place. Some
First of
teams that are
all,
successful.
I'd like to say that there are names that at least I'm familiar with some of them from just watching football.
Right.
Okay. So we haven't gone into third string too far into third string players this time around because we've
Thankfully.
done over the years we have done that.
Yes,
So
we have.
there's definitely more opportunity. I can't talk about this enough. The dude, the kicker, that kicked the turf last season. Okay, he was a third string kicker. Where he came from another team. We did not draft him. We actually signed that guy. Why I have no idea. The kickers, punters that we picked up this time around have stats.
For once. For
For
once.
once, like legit, like the one that came from the Ravens, I believe. Can't think of his name right now, but he
Jordan Stout or the other gentleman, Jason Sanders.
it must have been
Oh
Stout.
no,
One of them
Jason
has
Sanders is a free agent. I
no no
apologize.
no 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 no. There
It's
was one
Jordan
of
Stout.
them. It must have been Stout because the whoever I'm thinking of, they said he played over 116 games. I mean, I don't know how you get that many. He's been in the league for a minute, right? He's seasoned. He's been out there, and I think that's important. Excuse me. It's very important that if we're going to sign, we're going to give people money. They need to have come with some sort of record. If they're not, and obviously that excuses anybody we draft.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we have more promise here because the guys that this Giants front office and Harbaugh conspired to bring on this time at least have present some sort of positive record in their career and supporting their teams into doing whatever it is their teams did when they were on them. So I think that's the most important aspect of this
Yes.
free agency. There's something we did not talk about that happened this past during free agency, but which was the re-signing of Daniel Jones to the Colts for $88 million.
Now,
What do you think about that? How does he do it? He needs to write. He needs to his own podcast to talk about how you convince senior leaders to believe in you, even if they should. He should come up with a podcast to talk about that because I want those tips now.
well, Daniel Jones, the ultimate scammer of the NFL. I think so. When you think about Daniel Jones and why he was able to be re-signed for $88 million over 2 years, only 2 years, ladies and gentlemen, so 40 something million a year. Um, I don't remember how much of it's guaranteed, but still, when you think about it, the Colts drafted Anthony Richardson with the hopes that that was going to be the franchise quarterback. They gave him a try, and he just couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it. So they fell back on the idea of getting another quarterback, and luckily Daniel Jones was available, so they got him. He scammed everybody in those first 10 games or whatever it was, and played against a lot of bad teams,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
looked good while doing so. So it didn't matter.
right.
And then when the road started getting a little rough, he very luckily and unfortunately at the exact same time got injured. Now I say luckily because he when he got towards the end of the season, where the games mattered the most, Daniel Jones was on the bench because of an injury. So you didn't get to see Daniel Jones in the crunch time where every single game matters. We only saw Daniel Jones in the games where it was the beginning of the season, mistakes happen, it's fine, you'll figure it out and you'll adjust. But Daniel Jones executed in those games and played really well. Jonathan Taylor was running all over teams like it was a recess time. He was just having fun. He got everything he wanted. 100+ yard games with two or more rushing touchdowns every game. Just killing it. The Colts ran, make no mistake, the Colts benefited from Jonathan Taylor's success, not Daniel Jones not making mistakes. That is what they thrived on. But in a quarterback league, you have to say the quarterback is the reason that they won because those guys are getting paid the most. So naturally, they put all of that credit towards their wins into Indiana Jones. And then, like I said, in peak Daniel Jones fashion, he disappears in the games where it matters most, although this time to injuries, not mistakes. He got injured, he was gone. The Colts did not do much without him. Not saying that matters. What I'm saying here is that the image of that matters. That they didn't do anything without him, but they were calling him and branding him Indiana Jones while he was there. So it looked worse when he wasn't there. If that makes sense, what I'm saying. They tried to make it seem like that team was really really struggling without Daniel Jones, when in reality it was just the fact that they didn't have somebody who was already routinely doing every game, just game managing, to let Jonathan Taylor carry him. That's all that happened. The Colts without Daniel Jones are way worse off. Daniel Jones is somebody that they needed to fill that spot, even if it's just temporarily. Maybe they're trying to get Arch Manning. I don't know. I don't know. I just know that the Colts feel he's somebody that you could put as a placeholder for the next 2 years. Because why else would they only give him 2 years? Think about that. If you thought that Daniel Jones was the franchise quarterback,
It's
why
true.
didn't you just pay him more for more years?
True.
Clearly, this is somebody that they just want to hold on to until they can get rid of him. Because 2 years, that's it, and you give him under 100 million. You clearly don't think of him that much or that
No,
highly.
no.
So I think to me they would rather have him than any other bum quarterback that's currently available right now.
It's terrible, but it's true, right?
It's so
It's
true. They're
so
not going to look.
true.
They would have paid Tua Tagovailoa. They passed on him. Russell Wilson didn't even get considered. There's a lot of people that they could have went to. but they would rather have Daniel Jones. If we're talking bottom of the barrel to average quarterbacks, Daniel Jones is at the very top of that list. And that is somebody that the Colts would rather have on their team than any other person that is a lesser version of him, which again ain't much when you think about it. I am a Daniel Jones hater, I will say that, but
There's
I have
no
to say
doubt
it.
about that.
But at the same time, I'm very realistic when we talk about his game. What does he do special? Nothing.
Yeah.
There are
He
most
he has
quarterbacks are expected to
moments
run.
where, yeah, he has moments where it seems special, but then you realize it really isn't special. He's just being a quarterback.
He's doing the basic stuff, but it looks special because you're like, oh wow, I didn't realize he could throw it 45 plus yards like that and be accurate. Oh wow, I didn't think he actually would make that read. Usually he just stares down the routes. Oh wow, he actually threw it to the check down this time. Like that's the basic stuff that you expect of a quarterback. But when he does it, you're just so relieved he did it.
Yeah.
And this is just again, this is speaking as a Giants fan who watched him with like no offensive line. That offensive line was never the same week in and week out. I believed it changed an historic 14 times in one season, something like that. It was like the a different starting offensive line, like 14 games in a row, which was just at the time unheard of. Like it was just like, wow, this is really bad. They've never had a consistent offensive line. I get that. I get he didn't play against, behind an offensive line that was consistent. I get that he played against the bottom, or excuse me, played behind a bottom five offensive line. But look at what he did with the Colts. And I'm talking about if we're going to talk numbers, look at his numbers, not the wins. Look at the numbers, and you tell me if Daniel Jones really was that guy. And I'm going to put his stats up right now. I'm going to look them up. I'm going to put up Colt stats, and I'm just going to talk about these stats right now. This is the last thing we'll talk about for Daniel Jones. If we look at his stats from 2024 to 2025, 2024 being the last season with the Giants,
Right.
uh, he threw for 2,070 yards for the New York Giants, 63% pass completion, 8 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, with a quarterback rating of 79.4. He goes to the Colts with an easier schedule, one of the easiest schedules in the league. 68% pass completion, 3,101 passing yards. He doubles his touchdowns to 19, and or well, really more than doubles it. And then he has one more interception. He has more interceptions than he did last season. 8 interceptions with a quarterback rating of 100. When you think about this on the surface, it seems like a great improvement. But when you look at other elites and other people who are just better, they weren't throwing a touchdown to pass ratio, excuse me, interception ratio of basically 1 to 2 or 2 to 1. Like he's throwing an interception for every 2 touchdowns. Is that really good? No, that's
Uh,
not. When you think about that, 2 touchdowns, every time he throws 2 touchdowns, he's going to have possibly throw an interception. That doesn't scream good to me. Now, if you look at all his other, let's look at let's look at his best season with the New York Giants and his best season with the Colts.
okay.
So his best season with the New York Giants is by far his 2022 season. He has 67% pass completion, 3,205 passing yards, 15 passing touchdowns, and 5 interceptions with a quarterback rating of 92.5. Quite literally, he only got 100 more yards. He has 4 less touchdowns and 3 less interceptions um, than his best season or his first season with the Colts, rather. And a lot of people would say that he was bad with those stats that I just gave you, the 3,200, 15, and 5 for the New York Giants. But for some odd reason, you add just a few numbers to the touchdowns, you add a couple of interceptions, and you have 100 less yards, and he's Indiana Jones.
I just think they needed something to get excited about, right? And and he brought that for that moment in that time. And but
That's
now
such
they're
bogus.
unsure,
It's so
clearly.
bogus. It's
Yeah.
propaganda then, and that
Yeah.
means that's proving it's propaganda. Because
Yeah.
again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna say it again. In 2022, he had 100 more passing yards. He had 4 less touchdowns and 3 less interceptions, and his quarterback rating was down by 8 points. And
Yeah.
people said he was terrible. But now, 100 less passing yards, 4 more passing touchdowns, 3 more interceptions, 8 more points in quarterback rating, and 1% higher, not even 0.8% higher in pass completion. and he's Indiana Jones.
And he's in.
And you're telling me with a straight face that you think he's a good quarterback.
Right, right, right. Yeah,
That's what these people
it's
are telling me right now.
yeah,
Literally 3 years ago, people said he sucked
yeah.
with
Not even three
similar
years
stats.
ago. Not even three
Not
years
even
ago.
2 years ago,
Yeah,
2.5 years ago, people
yeah.
said he sucked
Right,
and that he should have been off the team and he
right.
shouldn't have been in the league. But somehow, with almost similar stats, with a lower, with actually a better touchdown to interception ratio in 2022, and then a worse one in 2025, he's Indiana Jones. It makes no sense, and my mom is absolutely correct. They just needed something to get excited about because people were already stressed about this signing. Did nobody
Mm-hmm.
really want? Nobody really thinks that Daniel Jones is a good signing. Let's be real here. Nobody's excited when they hear that their team signed him.
No, no. And for me, it was just it was I got a good chuckle out of it. But yeah, the guy he's good at and he has a hell of an agent to
He
negotiate
does.
deals for him.
He's a great agent.
I will, those two should get together and do seminars. They should go and they should do live streams and tell people how to convince people of authority that you're great, even if you're not.
How to con almost $1 billion franchises out of their money.
All right, so I think we're ready for the recap. You want to go a little bit of recap for some of the folks that didn't come exactly on time with us, but still want to hear what you had to say.
Okay, so let's briefly recap all of the signings once more. Uh, let's start with against the top, the four OG signings that everybody really is excited about because it's the Ravens players coming over. We're effectively the Baltimore Giants right now with Isaiah Likely, the tight end, big guy to come in there for us for plays in the red zone. The tight end coming out of Baltimore Ravens, Jordan Stout, the punter, replaces Jamie Gillian. The Scottish Hammer is no more. And then you've got Patrick Ricard, a very big body coming in at 6'3", I believe, and 305 pounds as a fullback, by the way, not a guard or a center, any of that. He's not a lineman, but he could play like one. He's coming from the Ravens, and he is a 6-time Pro Bowler, by the way. So having someone like him to pair up with Cam Scadaboo, look, I'm getting excited. I have to calm down thinking about it. And then, of course, our Darius Washington. That is the Mount Rushmore of Baltimore Ravens players that we've gotten. Our Darius Washington being the safety we picked up. He's a good open field tackler. He adds depth to the team. He was very cheap, 1 year, $3 million. So those are the big four that we signed from the Ravens. You've got, of course, the major signings for the New York Giants, keeping Jermaine Illuminor and getting him on a really good budget of 3 years, $39 million. That's very good, especially for a very valuable position like the right tackle. And he's one of the better right tackles in the league. Excuse me. That is somebody who you could put up there in the top 3, top 5 of right tackles in the NFL. He's right up there with the best, and he's only improving. He's getting better each year. So that is a really huge signing for us. He probably will be gone after that contract because he's going to be probably demanding big money in 3 years. You heard it here first. And then, of course, there's Elijah Campbell, who's pending. You've got Darnell Mooney. He's pending. And then you have that receiver, I think Calvin Austin. He's pending as well. There's a wide receiver, a DB, and it's two wide receivers and a DB. They're all pending right now for physicals, but they pretty much have agreed to their deals. And then I believe there was a couple of other New York Giants that we decided to re-sign. Some of their names, they're just kind of just depth guys, so we won't even go
Yeah,
into them. But a
yeah,
lot of the
yeah.
big signings I already listed, and who knows what we'll be doing next week. As this off season goes, we'll see what the Giants decide to do. Maybe they'll try to trade people for picks if they decide to let some people go. I know Kayvon Thibodeau is still somebody that's a big question mark. We'll wait to see what they say about him. And we can only hope
See,
that if we do get rid of him, that we at least get for it, because we can't keep giving people like talent like that away, first round picks, and just letting them go for nothing.
no, we
Saquon
should
Barkley.
definitely. We hope they learned their lesson. I hope they learned their lesson.
You never give away a number 2 overall draft pick for
No,
nothing, ladies and
we'll
gentlemen.
never get over
For
that.
nothing.
We'll never
Not
get.
a single penny.
We got nothing for the guy. We'll never get over that. That's
They didn't
him.
even give us sandwiches. Nothing. Just nothing. So
Cheesesteak. Look, it was Philly. We didn't get any
we didn't know
cheesesteak.
cheesesteaks, so nothing. Like They just said that thanks and then got a ring. I'll never get over this. And
It's hard.
I'll never not mention it. I will be
Yeah,
mentioning this for the next 40 years.
yeah. It's
It's just
not.
gonna I'm always gonna bring it up.
Yeah, it's something that no business should ever do is to just let go of your best player and get nothing for it. It's just
It's very upsetting. It's illegal, really. It's
it
literally it's
should
illegal.
be. It was a felony.
A total felony. It should be illegal to let somebody like Saquon Barkley go like that for nothing. That should be illegal. It should be a crime.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's just
Well,
no way.
we're gonna try to keep our eye on everything and that's going on as we lead up to the draft in late April. And we will be going live for that. You get live draft reaction, see what happens. Let's hope, the Sun mentioned we could trade down. I don't know if I can take another trade down unless they're doing something amazing. And I don't know what they would do trading down in this draft. I just don't know. So let's hope that they keep the draft pick that they have in the fifth round pick.
One
I
last
mean
thing.
fifth pick. Uh-huh.
Now that you said that, now you got me really thinking.
Mm-hmm.
If they traded down, this would mean that they don't want the safety or linebacker coming out of Ohio State because Sonny
They're gonna go.
Styles and yeah, that means they don't need them. Because if you think about it, we already signed several DBs. We got a DB, we got a safety. I believe
Yeah.
we got another. I think it was two corners and a safety, and then we got a couple of receivers coming in. We have a bunch of skill guys coming in from other teams on really cheap contracts. We may not go for a DB or a receiver at the top five. We might not even go for a linebacker. We got Tremaine Edmonds
It's true.
from the
True.
from the Bears, so we don't even need to go for him. Which, by the way, I forgot to mention him. My apologies, Tremaine Edmonds. You are one of the bigger signings as well from the Bears, the linebacker.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
my point here is all these signings. We got a lot of needs here. The only needs that we didn't address are technically the offensive line because we do need to get at least another guard or something, or even another center just for depth. Whether it's in the draft or off-season free agency, somebody will figure it out. But we definitely
Right.
need another lineman. We definitely need another defensive tackle or defensive end or something. We need some sort of extra edge rusher, just some depth. And then it would really be great if we could get another linebacker because, as we know, our linebacking room changes throughout the season. People get hurt left and right. So I hope that we make address these positions and we beef up we continue to beef up the offensive line. We continue to get skill guys and increase that depth, and we just go from there. Big Blue, as always, make sure you like and subscribe. It is very important that you guys do that and help the family grow. We would be nothing without our supporters, and we really do love and appreciate everybody that comes in and shows us some love and wants to see the family grow. It means a lot to us. Don't forget our website. You can get some merchandise. We got some great cups up there. We got some t-shirts, sweatshirts, sweaters, as my basketball coach used to say in elementary school, middle school. And just there's just a lot of good things on that website. You should check it out. It's retailsecret.com. In Dart We Trust is our favorite slogan so far, but we're going to be adding some more slogans in there for other shirts. May even get a John Harbaugh shirt in there. Just have to figure out if that's legal. but there are a couple of ideas out there. That mug is really good, by the way, guys. I really do enjoy the family bonding mug. $14 for a really good mug. It doesn't get hot when you heat it up. The handle doesn't get hot. It's a good mug. So I do recommend that mug. And
And
then
it's retailsecret.com, folks. No S at the end of secret. The
oh,
retailsecret.com.
sorry, retailsecret.com.
I couldn't
Sorry,
get the one with the S. That was already taken.
sorry.
The mother has recycled one of the URLs that I've owned for many, many years. So, but it makes sense. They were selling it's retail, so it doesn't. It's easy to remember too. Retailsecret.com.
Yeah,
Easy, easy peasy. Go right there and check and grab something. Like the Sun said, we're gonna have more merch this season, some stickers and other stuff that is now available through our vendors. So check that
yeah,
out and please let us know what you think. Reach out to us in the comments of this recorded one of the recording. Once you see it, go back in there. If you're watching it as a replay, and just comment. And we of course tell your friends all about us. Let them tell them to subscribe. We really would appreciate that. If you like what we are doing here, please be a super fan. Hook us up. Throw us a couple dollars. You can do that now with us. We've at least made it to that point, but we do need more subscribers for our other milestones in our podcasting ventures. So please, please hook it up. Hook us up and tell your friends, reshare. All right. And we'll have some clips throughout the week also to give you some more information. So with that, we'll let you go and to kind of evaluate the rest of what's going on in the NFL. And we'll see you soon, folks.
Hopefully in a week's time.